Hello and welcome to video 7 of my series of Trails to Daybreak Part 2. Here we are in some sort of resort and this chapter is some kind of intermission. We had chapters like this one in the past, like the School Festival in Trails of Cold Steel Part 1, or the ones in Michelin, in Trails to Azure and Trails of Cold Steel 4. In those instances there have been a lot of activities one could do to bond with other characters or just have fun with the minigames. There was always a wide variety of things to do, and for the most part, if you did everything at least once, you would almost have depleted your activity points and only needed to do a few things twice. As a side note, similar to that, we had minigames in the Revie Corridors hub and we had the doors in Trails in the Sky Desert. Here we didn't have a limited amount of activity points. Now here in Daybreak 2 we have 2 things to do and 10 points to spend. So that's lazy as hell. Switching to nighttime, we get another 7 points and 1 activity to choose from. So the activities get repetitive fast. That's a bit disappointing. We more or less skipped chapter 2 of the game in terms of videos, so let's recap that fast. Swin and Nadia got a message about something dangerous going to happen at Aramis Academy, Agnes' school, so they become students there, and we get a chapter with a school scenario. Something the Trails series likes to do. Not just Cold Steel 1 and 3 had that in high doses. The first time this happened was Trails in the Sky first chapter, and it felt like someone hit the pause button back then. And it really didn't get much better with this kind of scenario. Guess we can be lucky we never saw Lloyd's Police Academy times. You know what, here, let me show you how the Daybreak one at least tried to be funny.
Where are those two? I thought we agreed to meet up here early.
Oh no! I'm running late! Whoopsie! Hey, what gives? You were supposed to let me bump into you!
We don't have time for your shenanigans. We've already made Agnes wait longer than she needed to.
Boo. You're no fun.
Wait. Did she prep the bread and everything just for that?
Anyway, aside from the tired scenario, we learned a lot. Someone who called himself the Garden Master and may or may not be Swin's older brother, who is supposed to be dead, makes his entrance at the end of the chapter. And the red fairy is a hacked Lapis. Funny enough, I was on to the Lapis part, I was just missing the details. Since the garden is involved, that part should tie into the Märchengarten, so all of that makes more sense now. In the other half of chapter 2, Van helped out in Longport. The Lei family, as part of Heui, started an uprising, and the Lu family tried to quell that little revolt. But Chao Li had it all orchestrated, so the Lei family would lose their seat, and he could move in with his own organization, the Li family. It didn't make any sense when we finally reached the conclusion. I really didn't quite get how A leads to B leads to C here, but I'm no expert with this underworld stuff, and I can see some fuzzy logic behind this, so I just let it slide. At the end of the Van storyline, we meet one of the 2 young agents we saw interacting with Elroy Harwood after the first Crimson Grendel fight. And we don't know if those 2 are maybe new executioners or something else. It seems they have some connections to the gardens, so maybe former assassins, which would tie in with the Garden Master part. Why the Oathbreaker is using these 2 isn't clear yet. Walter and Madame Butterfly did appear already, but both have been lending a hand to our heroes, so that's odd.
How fascinating.
Anyway, at night time, when the last guests arrive, we see the complete set of characters assembled and a side quest reveals Ix and Jorda are here too. Since the invitation to this island was given by Mr. Oathbreaker himself, the story should move forward quite a bit.
I think we've seen just about everything.
Now in theory this would be the end of the video, but since it's rather short, I will splice it together with the next video. I planned to do after this intermission was finished and we got to explore the rest of the island. So let's recap. After running around in circles on the resort island for a while, we realized that it's the location of the old D-G cult lodge Paradise. Yes, the one Wen was in. Since Wen is here too, she immediately informs everyone about... Yeah, just kidding, of course she doesn't. The Oathbreaker booby-traps the whole island with traps that emit a deadly poison gas that kills everyone on the island if released. And since Wen and his group reaches him first, he blackmails them into exploring the island. Since others have seen Wen and the Oathbreaker together, they of course all think they work together, since all the intelligent people obviously received a lobotomy overnight. Yeah, not really, but almost none of them would really jump to conclusions this fast. They all know our heroes, they all know Van. So the whole plot point of having everyone at their tails now didn't really make any sense. Nonetheless, you fight almost every other group on the island. The Silver Blade is optional since she's the most laid back one around. And I think you are able to actually dodge a few bad ends if you do things in the right order. The scripted losses that reminds you the time reversal mechanic of the Genesis exists. One of them is to encounter the guild before you go into the first main location you are supposed to visit, where you will find Chao Li and that mad scientists from Seth's arms. There's a scene with Wen that explains that she absorbed the personalities of all the other children we saw in door 15 in Trails in the Sky the Third, which is so odd. It always seemed that the other kids and the way that played out were just a coping mechanism for young Wen. This absorbing thing is far more stupid and I don't know what to think about that. Anyhow, turns out Kato was also part of some cult experiment. And then he turns into an angel and kills everyone on the island with some light magic that destroys actually everything on the island. After a Genesis rollback and running a few more circles, you can defeat him. Interesting enough, the Oathbreaker kind of knows about this time reversal thing, because shortly before they all die by Kato's first outbreak, he said something about, yeah, you might have to do better next time. We then have to explore a dungeon and get another round with the twins on our way to the final encounter on the island. You need to defeat those two simultaneously, more or less. When the first falls, the other one should go down before he has another turn. I actually managed to do this by coincidence, since I really didn't plan for it, but you dodge another bad end. It makes some sense since they bought a nuke. Actually, that nuke was built by the certain factories of the society. And they have the sword of Dante, which they stole from the church, which is used to detonate these nukes. Why you need that sword specifically is a mystery in and of itself, but they are descendants of Dante, so they can use the sword. We then get a fight against the Oathbreaker, who wants to summon some demon from another world. We stop that, then we have to fight a red Grendel, and after that Swin turns on us, steals the parts of Genesis number 8 and gives them to the Garden Master, who shows up, reassembles it with the part he already has, steals all the other Genesis with them. He just pulls them to him because it's maybe the Master Genesis. But then Van manages to snatch one in his Grendel form. And a heartbroken Nadia can't believe Swin would betray all of them and even her. The Garden Master reveals his face and he is actually Ace, Nadia's older brother, and instead of fighting for the last Genesis, he just disappears with his entourage. Nadia is left behind and is completely broken. A few years later she leaves a letter when she also disappears. And while I recap this, if you watch this fight, it's hard mode and you can see zero effort on my part. The tactical fights in these games are so sad and I will never get tired of pointing that out.
That's one job behind.
Now where do I start? Swin would not betray Nadia. And even if Ace was a twisted character that only deceived Nadia and faked his own death in the past to make her a better assassin, that still explains nothing. So he reaches out to Swin, who still admires him, to get a useful minion, but he is not reaching out to his sister to recruit her too. Nadia is also described as very attentive, and even if we assume Swin is kind of a blind spot, this seems a bit much. The other question, how long is Swin on to this? Did he help steal Lapis? They also died a few times and were rolled back by the Genesis. And he did look truly concerned about Nadia at multiple points, and who really doesn't come off as a good actor. Anyhow, losing all the Genesis means we need to get him back. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. I hope the game will give me better material in the future, but if not, I will probably produce less videos. Until then, bye bye.